Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dan Sweet with Helicopter Association International, and welcome to this week's At Work webinar. This has been one that we have been trying to get on our schedule for months. Jim Viola, our president, has interactions with business leaders around the world on a very regular basis, and we feel like these conversations will be of value to people in our industry. But trying to get these things scheduled is never easy. And so we do apologize. Today's discussion between Jim and Clyde Woltman is a recording. We had to record it earlier this week. But sometimes that's just the way business is in our industry. So we do appreciate that you're joining us today, and we do hope you understand. So let's go ahead and discuss, see who's going to be coming on with us today. Obviously, Jim Viola, the president and CEO of HAI. And he will be having a conversation with Clyde Woltman, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Leonardo Helicopters USA. Mr. Woltman joined Leonardo in June 2019, initially to lead the US Government Defense Unit, and was later named Chief Executive Officer in 2022. Prior to joining Leonardo, Woltman worked for Aerojet Rocketdyne and with Pratt & Whitney. He is also a veteran of the US Marine Corps, retiring at the rank of Colonel. A career Marine and Naval aviator, he served in multiple operational commands and staff assignments. Colonel Woltman flew more than 200 combat missions during Operation Desert Storm, Southern Watch, Iraqi Freedom, and Iraqi Freedom II. He's worked at the headquarters of the Marine Corps Plans, Policy and Operations, as an exchange pilot with the Spanish Navy, a student at the French Joint War College and University of Paris-Sorbonne, as a NATO staff officer in Naples, Italy, and a Secretary of Defense Corporate Fellow with United Technologies Corporation. Mr. Woltman is a graduate of the University of Southern California with a bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering, and the University of Paris-Sorbonne with a Master's in Arts degree in Geopolitical Studies. He's married, and he and his wife have 2 sons. So, since today's recording or today's webinar is recorded, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have any questions and answers at the end of the webinar. We do apologize for that, but it's just the way things had to balance out. We will try to get back into a session with questions as soon as possible. That said, today's webinar is being recorded. If you are interested in sharing that, we'll make the link available both on our website and our YouTube channel as quickly as possible. We'll try to get that taken care of tomorrow, but it could be as late as Monday before we get that posted. So let me stop sharing this screen, and I will go ahead and jump into the video here. Just need to find where my mouse went. There we go. Okay, I'll be back with you at the end of the recording, and we'll wrap things up.
Hello, I'm James Viola, the President and CEO of Helicopter Association International, and today I have the privilege of introducing Clyde Woltman, who is the CEO of Leonardo Helicopters, the United States. Clyde, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. Good to be here today. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely, it's good to talk aviation, and so we'll kick it right off. We're thinking that our members that are signed on here are probably mechanics, helicopter pilots, and helicopter enthusiasts. So tell us a little bit about your flying background to kind of whet their appetite.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Jim. My background, frankly, is more aligned with the fixed wing world. I spent almost 30 years in the Marine Corps flying fixed wing, started out early on in the A4 Skyhawk, did a couple tours there, and then transitioned to the AV8B. So although I'm not a rotary wing guy, I know how to hover, so I flew Harriers for most of my career, mostly on the West Coast. I was very blessed to be in operational squadrons and flew in normal operation like deployments, both on the ship and shore base, but also flown in combat operations during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, OIF, Desert, and also during the deny flight activities in the Middle East. So quite a bit of that. I was also kind of interesting part of my career was that I spent some time overseas as well as a flyer. I was an exchange pilot with the Spanish Navy. So when you look at where I am today with this international company, I'd flown with the Spanish Navy, got some time working in Europe as a student at the French War College, University of Paris, and then payback tour in Naples, Italy. So a little bit of international experience there. And also was a SecDef corporate fellow. So I worked with industry early on while active duty. So my background kind of steered me toward where I am today. But I think what's really significant for me in terms of the rotary and tilt rotor world is, as a Marine, and many of you know, and I know you're aware of this, Jim, that in Marine Corps we oftentimes deploy with air combat elements, an ACE, which is a composite squadron where you mix fixed wing, tilt rotor, and helicopters. And while deployed in that environment, my colleagues oftentimes let me fly their aircraft with them. So I have quite a bit of rotary wing experience. At the time, I even got to fly a V-22 years ago. So I do speak and understand and appreciate the world of rotor wing and tilt rotor aviation.
No, great. No, it's certainly a great international background, and that's truly one of the reasons I want to have this conversation with you today. You bring all that here, and then and out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you guys had some great aircraft there. Did you get to fly any of those recently?
I have. I kind of joke. I have a standing mandate. I get to fly or try to fly at least once a month. So I have flown, a few of our aircraft. Most recently, I think it was maybe 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago, I flew one of our TH-119s. So yeah, I do get to fly the aircraft occasionally. It's pretty motivating for me and for the team to see the boss walk through the flight line and the part 21, part 145, and a flight suit, climb in an aircraft, start it up, and go fly it. So yeah, I certainly get an appreciation for the fine machines that we make.
Yeah, you got a great workforce there in Philadelphia. So let's jump into some of the new stuff you're doing. I know that Leonardo just started some construction on a new support center down in Milton, Florida. Tell us about that project.
Certainly, that's very exciting for us. It's effectively an MRO facility, maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility, co-located with the Navy. As I think you're aware of, and many of our viewers are aware of, that the helicopter training takes place in near Milton, Florida, at Naval Air Station Whiting Field, where they have two fields, North Field and South Field. North Whiting is where they do the primary training. South Whiting is where we do the helicopter training for the student naval aviators. Santa Rosa County, they were looking at, in the early 2003 timeframe, I believe, we're looking at building an aviation park co-located with South Whiting, to take advantage of some of the property there and some interoperability with bringing in potentially commercial aircraft into the airfield there. Being aware of that, when we were competing for the Navy trainer, we were looking at this, we were considering establishing some sort of a warehouse, some sort of facility co-located with the Navy, just to deal with help the Navy, our partners of the Navy, deal with the tyranny of distance, make certain that spare parts were available to them right out there next to the airfield. So as we looked at this, studied this, and when we were fortunate enough to be selected for the Navy trainer program, the TH-73 Alpha, the 130 aircraft, we decided, okay, now let's go ahead and execute this program. So bottom line, to cut to the chase, it's a facility. We decided a facility in the size of 113,000 square foot facility with 4 large hangar bays, Part 145 certification. We've in fact had a small operation at Peter Prince Regional, just down the street from Whiting Field, where we obtained the certification for Part 145, and that of course gets transferred over to the larger facility. So what we intend on having there is a facility that provides component overhaul, transmission repairs, dynamic test bench, full paint booth, tooling, and of course warehousing. We broke ground for the facility about 2 weeks ago. Very excited in making that happen. We're there to support, not, the primary partner is United States Navy, provide support for them, but also an opportunity to provide an MRO facility for our large customer base in the region there in the the southeastern United States and in Central and South America. It's been I tell you what, this whole journey has been incredible partnership, wonderful collaboration between Leonardo, Santa Rosa County, the United States Navy, of course, the state of Florida, and Space Florida.
No, that sounds like a great project. It sounds like something that going well beyond what you're required to do, but trying to make it easy on everybody. And so speaking on that, and I think it's your partner. I think you refer to your operators as your partners. Is that correct?
We do. All right. They are partners, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a customer. We'll get rid of that word. We'll go to partner. So your partnership now with the Navy and the TH-73 Thrasher helicopters. What kind of feedback? I would imagine it's all good, but tell me some specifics of what you're hearing back from the Navy.
Well, it has been very good. In fact, maybe it's been about 6 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of attending the change of command ceremony for HT8. And HT8 is as many of you know, is the first one of the 3 training squadrons there, and they were the first ones to be manned up with a 73. Now they're flying only TH-73s for the student naval aviators. And while there, I had the distinct honor, pleasure to fly with flying one of the birds. And the instructor pilot is a lieutenant commander, and I believe he was the director of safety and standardization, and the high hours instructor pilot currently at the wing, some 600 hours in the aircraft, which is pretty impressive. And from the time I climbed in that aircraft, he couldn't say enough positive things about the aircraft. And you can imagine in my place, I'm a naval aviator, I'm climbing in a seat next to him, my company's making these aircraft, delivering them for the Navy. And here's this gentleman going on about all the great aspects about the aircraft, how satisfied he is with it, and how great of a tool, the perfect tool it is. It gets not me, I'm not advertising this, he's telling me this. And how it's a perfect platform, the transition from the fixed wing trainer to fleet birds, all the systems management, the equipment, the glass cockpit, how the seats are arranged with the jump seat in the back, the single engine IFR capability, how it's optimized to do auto rotations to touchdown. In fact, during the over 1 hour flight, he took me to every one of the outlying fields in the area, and we shot autos to touchdowns at every one of those facilities just to demonstrate the versatility and capability of the aircraft. It was fantastic. So that was I think that really demonstrated, it showed me the motivation and the positive feeling about the aircraft. Additionally, on a side note, my son happened to be going through a training in Florida as well, and he provides me some intel from his. He's not quite in the pipeline yet, but he provides me a lot of intel from his classmates about they're very excited to fly this machine and really enjoying it. So
no, that's pretty big bragging rights from the son to say my dad's making these helicopters, making sure these helicopters are meeting the standards. So that's a good deal. So I did get the opportunity to visit the facility, I think before you took over, and that was back in March 2021. And they were doing a lot of work there. Tell me about that training facility that you have there.
Well, that's thanks. That's a great question, and we're really pleased with the training facility. As you may recall, we had always had some training capability there on site and kind of activities in the region. But what we did was we consolidated everything on campus. So the training pilots, maintainers, aircrew. So we've been doing quite well since we stood up. We've been averaging just over 1,000 students per year going through the program, mostly from the Americas, but it's definitely an international crowd. When you walk into the atrium, into the main office there, you see the scheduling board, and it is routinely full. So we have some 22 technicians and pilot instructors that are working almost around the clock, so they're quite busy. We have the facilities all FAA certified, so we have 10 FAA certified classrooms that are available for use. And certainly we also have with the full flight, full motion simulators, the FFSs are available. We've accumulated almost 6,000 training hours in those platforms, as well as some 700 training hours in actual equipment. We have a 119 and a 139 and equipment from other aircraft there, in a bay where we actually we provide the virtual training for the maintainers, but also hands-on. We believe strongly that, hands-on practice is certainly vital. So, those are some of the numbers we've seen since the inauguration about a year and a half ago. Very, very pleased with the overall progress and status of that facility there.
Well, that's great. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff when I was up there, when I walked around, and the other thing I saw at the time, and I'm not sure, what the update is now, but let's talk about, the AW609 tilt rotor and its certification process.
There's a lot of excitement around that program, and I'm very pleased with the progress we've made thus far. I'd like to give you a specific date when we expect the FAA certification. Unfortunately, that's not possible. It would not be responsible for me to give you whether it's 6 months or a year and a half from now. I can tell you we're working very closely with FAA. The FAA has presented us a very clear pathway towards certification. The complexity of this is immense. So this has been ongoing for a number of years, and we've to, acknowledge the fact that this is not just an aircraft; it's an entirely new class of aircraft. It's powered lift, so it's not just the aircraft; it's the airspace, it's the training, all aspects of a new type model series, about powered lift. So. It's moving along well. The aircraft we've up until about 9 months ago, as you're evaluating an aircraft, you're seeing engineering improvements, and we've been doing that. But we effectively, about 9 months ago, we've locked on the configuration, because you want to have a set configuration that the FAA can study and certify, and that's where we are. So we're focused on, we have a set configuration. Obviously the complexity involved with the FAA. We're focused now. We internally are focused on industrialization, because we have production birds. In fact, the first production aircraft flew in October of 22. So we have others that are being built, and again focusing on industrializing those. And in the meantime, we also have our folks, our sales teams, marketing people, are looking at what's the market look like, and we're seeing excellent, obviously excellent feedback from globally. We've internally, while this is happening, we are also developing our full flight simulator, the training modules and all that for the aircraft. So once it gets certified, we can go in a high gear and start training people on the aircraft, maintainers and air crew, and also being able to support the aircraft for our customers. You may recall that we signed a new order back in 2020, well, early this year, for a European passenger transport operator for 4 units, and also we have another order from Westar in Malaysia. So bottom line, over the next couple of years, the 609s are part of our master production plan. So we have customers right now, today and now. So it's a very exciting place for us. As we all know, collectively on the military side, the V-22 has shown the capabilities and the value of tilt rotor platforms, and so that's a given. But was also very encouraging for us is a recent decision by the United States Army to select the V-280, the Viola V-280, as in that mission, and certainly validates the value of tilt rotor technologies. So the 609, it's a great product in itself. It's a technology enabler. It's a capability enabler, and we're already looking at the next generation of tilt rotors for our company.
Yeah, no, those
very exciting time.
Yeah, those 2 words are technology and the capability. That's one of the things that I think people don't truly understand, what vertical aviation brings, and it brings and the intent that behind the scenes. Folks like, Leonardo and other manufacturers, it's what are the good things that vertical aviation can do for society? How do you fill those gaps out there between airplanes and helicopters? The speed, the range, not needing all the infrastructure. So really applaud to all the good work that you're doing. And I know 609 has been a long time coming, but like as you're telling me now, the appetite is out there, the orders are there. Soon we can, and all the help, hopefully I'm providing some help as an association, as well as GAM and others, to try to get you across that finish line. So thanks for working with us, and thanks for the patience on that. So the other aircraft certification wise, how about the AW09? How's that going?
Thanks, Jim. Bottom line with AW09, we're focused on bringing a product to market that meets the expectations of the market. If you recall, we procured a copter a couple of years ago, and we've upgraded that vehicle, and in the air vehicle as well as the propulsion systems in it. And we believe that we have a very sound strategy toward bringing that product to development and industrialization, addressing supply chain management and support. And we're confident we're on the right path towards certification through EASA. As we know, once we achieve that certification through reciprocity with the FAA, we'll see that aircraft. They're looking at building it here, potentially in the U.S. and seeking out the market in the U.S. as well. Back in Heli Expo 2023, we announced preliminary sales contracts for some over 50 units globally. So that's genuinely exciting as well. So that shows in both actually Southeast Asia and in Brazil. So we're going in the right direction. I think bottom line, we're satisfied with the progress that we're making, and we're striving to deliver that aircraft as soon as possible to the market.
No, that's great to hear. Again, that the appetite is out there, and that society is looking forward to some of these new capabilities. And so, as we've been trying to build out of these new capabilities and be able to support partnerships and society, what are your, what's the future hold for Leonardo as everybody starts talking about advanced air mobility?
Well, that's an interesting one, Jim. Our division has recently registered some patents for a range of technological solutions and architectures that some of which may be relevant to advanced air mobility applications. We're assessing potential business models, what that would look like in that area. That considering that not only technology itself, but also some of the applicable regulations, infrastructure, services, social acceptance, sustainment, and market opportunities. So it's something that we're certainly interested in. We're pursuing. We're continuing to study. We at Leonardo continue to study the possibilities of advanced air mobility very, very closely, including an electrical hybrid propulsion solution, which I think is certainly very, very viable. And that also comes, as part of a broader technological roadmap that we have across not only the division, but across the group that leverages our established and solid, widely recognized expertise and integrated capabilities in the vertical takeoff and land platforms. So it's certainly something that's very interesting to us. I can't give you a very specific roadmap today, but I think that is certainly the future. Yeah, no, I think, like I said, exciting times right now. As you transition from helicopter to the 609 to the 09, future capabilities with AAM aircraft out there, and mainly the propulsion. So it's good to see Leonardo working on the single engine IFR stuff. That was certain, took a while to get there back to the safety of single engine operations. But with all that, and you talked about a little bit earlier today, when you walk the floor, tell me about what you're doing to address workforce development here and making sure that you have that workforce to do all this work. Well, it's certainly a priority for all CEOs, workforce development. One of the, for me, it's a multi-axis approach. You want to obviously build your workforce, build your teammates, and at the same time incentivize them and keep them motivated and keep them on the team. We're looking at multiple activities that not only bring on board new blood, people that have never been in aviation before, but also experienced technicians and engineers and the like. So it's been a very interesting year for me in terms of initiatives. The focus has been on, we're recruiting quite a bit across multiple areas, including the military communities. We've had some number of partnerships with organizations such as Next Stop, which helps transitioning military people. So we're bringing a lot of experience in that area. We've been recently formulated a sort of a new junior technician program in a partnership with the Aviation Institute of Maintenance just down the street from us, where they train young people toward their AMPs, airframes and power plants certifications. So it's that effectively is a cohort of students that we receive, bringing in training and in our aircraft, and if they complete appropriately the program and demonstrate the skills and attitude, we can bring them on as permanent employees. So we have this partnership with them. We're also exploring other opportunities quite aggressively with educational institutions such as the Community College of Philadelphia and Penn State University and other higher institutions of learning to bring in, reinforce our talent pipeline. So those are very meaningful activities. We also have internally a number of training programs, courses that are available to our workforce, using examples like commercial tools like Coursera, where we develop our teammates, and also our own internal training. We've leveraged our training academy for training new people, and also currency proficiency training for mechanics technicians that are been with the company for years. We've created a scholarship program and tuition assistance or tuition reimbursement toward AMP and undergraduate training. So there's, we're hitting all cylinders. We're bringing on new people, experienced people, and motivating and ensuring we have succession planning, succession training to keep people on staff. I have a philosophy that I've established, and that is to grow our own. So we build this team and continue to grow our own, and that's really key here, because that once you're a part of the team, you want to feel that you're a valued part of the team and you have a future with the company. So that's a genuinely an exciting time for us as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And that's a lot of good things that are out there on workforce development. As I travel around and I talk to the operator members out there, that's one of the key things, is that not only pilots, but mechanics as well. And then how do we get a roadmap from getting, number one, getting someone interested, and then getting them to the final selection, like things that you're offering them, Leonardo, to stay on board and become a teammate with you guys. So I appreciate the scholarships that you do support. Certainly, I've heard of people going to the transition that you offered for some of the scholarships. So keep up the great work on bringing more folks into the vertical aviation arena. So we talked about people. Now the next connection is the supply chain. I know that everybody's struggling on the supply chain as well. Have you done anything, or how are you dealing with, and what have you done to foster it?
Well, like everything, there are multiple actions that have to take place. A number of initiatives. We've made significant investments with our digital warehouse management tool that makes sure that we can ensure better end-to-end visibility and predictability with long lead times. Additionally, we will purchase in advance parts, components up to 12 months in advance. And what we've done is to deal with some of the challenges with the supply chain is we've added another 12 months to that. So you will see we will advance procure parts 24 months, 2 years prior to the aircraft to be built, or when the parts are needed. So bottom line, longer lead times. That's a key action that we're engaged in. The other piece is really identifying critical items, and we all know what those can be. So we're looking at how do we address the critical items, long lead times on those, and also second sources and more to make certain that we don't have any holes across the spectrum, and also adding more localized repair capabilities throughout our markets globally, as well as expanding the service centers to meet the needs of our partners. In terms of raw material stock, we've simply increased that, pursuing that, making certain that we have a consistent stock there. And overall, we've spent a tremendous amount of time and efforts with our suppliers to make certain that we understand their shortfalls, their challenges, and identifying them, getting their feedback, and they are partners with us, and ensuring that we acknowledge those, and we've established and maintained very strong relationships across all of our partners globally, and we're making certain that we're all fully aligned to meet our priorities together. So it is absolutely not trivial, and it's got our full attention. We're moving in the right direction.
No, so again, really sounds like you're stepping up for it, and a lot of people, we're coming out of the pandemic and stuff, but they are really exciting times now with a lot of things really going in the right direction, and a lot of lessons learned for how not to get some of the things with the supply chain, workforce development, getting folks interested, and the whole AAM coming on board and the different propulsion systems. I mean, very exciting. I'm excited as a pilot. I know the mechanics are and the engineers, depending on where you are in the world, are excited about getting their hands on some of this new technology, the battery, the hydrogen. So just very exciting times. It'd be hard to try to point, what I'm most excited in. I don't know, is there something that you're most excited in, or something 15 years down the road?
Oh my goodness. Well, for me, what's exciting for me, obviously everything we talked about here is, they're all state-of-the-art new opportunities, and customers and capabilities. But what is exciting for me is really where my company's going. We're looking, I know my colleagues on the other side of the Atlantic, our leadership team, not only in Rome, but with a division, we're looking across the Atlantic as in the Americas and the US as the next great market. And we've had some superb performance and great wins here in the recent years. And I think it is, to me, it's almost a clean slate. And we have very aggressive, open-minded, great leaders and technical people across the division, and looking at the U.S. And I think we are in an inflection point in that regard. And I can tell you how motivating it is on a daily basis to know we're part of that. So it's I see just great things coming out of the company here in our growth here in the U.S.
Oh, thanks. I mean, Leonardo is certainly one of the great companies out there. And, I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about HII. I mean, we've been around 75 years. We're celebrating our 75th year in December. And our task is to, bring the industry together so that everybody can succeed, and then I like to say, we've got to have safety first before prosperity. But we're doing a lot of good things in the safety area. We've got the vertical aviation safety team that Leonardo is members of course, and all the good work safety-wise that's going on with that. And Madrid, we're going to be in Madrid with European Rotors at the end of November. And you had some experience yourself in Spain. And then we're going to have the Heli Expo, which will be the last week in February. And this year it's going to be in Anaheim. And again, it's all about, as you mentioned, I think 2 of the Heli Expos that you made great announcements at. Is there anything that you want to whisper that's going to happen at the end of February?
Yeah, I'd love to, but I would be scolded from my colleagues in Italy. No, I look forward to all these events, and those are enjoyable across the board. Just working, with you and the team and our industry teammates. I mean, I enjoy being in that environment, with our competitors and partners, and at the same time. So I think the overall market, the technologies are going, in the right direction. I think I see growth across the industry, and it's just I'm genuinely proud to be part of that team, that international team.
No, very excited to have your membership, all the support that you do for the association to keep us trying to, make sure that we can do advocacy work to, number one, like we talked, the 609, keep the pressure on there to get that finished. So much work has gone into it. I know all your employees will probably hear it from Philadelphia here in DC when you get that approval from the cheers. But
there'll be a lot of cheers, believe me.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that day.
So any last minute things you want to talk about here before we wrap things up?
Well, Jim, I just really appreciate the time here, and like I said, I believe strongly that the company Leonardo helicopters, we're at an inflection point here internationally. I appreciate that the timing is great. You look at the product line, where the challenges we have internationally and the partnerships we have. This is it's just a real honor to be here with you, and we'll share some of that with you and the rest of the team, the global team.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I'd like to take the opportunity for those watching right now. If there's anything that you want to bring to myself or Clyde's attention, I certainly, my Viola flight reports, the VFRs, they drop me a note at president@rotor.org. I want to know what's going on. Like Clyde was talking about, walks out and, walks through the factory so he can see what's going on. I do that traveling as well. And I do look forward to getting to Philadelphia and maybe even flying with you, Clyde. So
I look forward to that. Fun on it.
Yeah, I appreciate your time today, and we'll go ahead and close things up. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It's always exciting to hear what companies are doing within our industry, and an organization like Leonardo that has such an illustrious history and such a positive outlook on the future. It's always great to hear what's going on with them. Just get just kind of an update from directly from the head of Leonardo USA. I want to extend my appreciation to Clyde Woltman and his team for finally being able to work this out and being able to make this presentation. So now let me bring up, and we'll get things wrapped up here fairly quickly today. Don't always have a CEO to CEO, but right now the next webinar we do have coming up is in September 14th, and that's going to be learning from military accidents. The Government Accounting Office earlier this year, GAO, produced a study on National Guard aircraft accidents, and we're going to have the people who assembled that report on to discuss what can the commercial industry learn from these military accidents. What the GAO came up with a list of recommendations, and how can those recommendations be applied to the commercial industry. Don't have firm dates yet, but we've got a couple of other topics that we know are coming up. Thought I'd throw a couple of them out. We're going to be talking, doing a presentation on rotor wake turbulence. And coming up in October, I believe that may be fairly firm. We're going to be getting an update on the NASA Mars helicopter directly from Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. One of the things that we've asked them to focus on is they've only planned for 5 missions, and I think right now they're at 55 missions. And so what have they learned about the aircraft, about their design, about the components of it that would be applicable to the commercial industry here on Earth? I think that's going to be an exciting one. HAI does like to share information. Our webinars are one of the methods we use. Another method we use is Rotor Daily. That's a daily news aggregator that comes out every business day here in the US. We distribute it around the world. We've gone through Google and all the other news sources we know to find the top 10 to 15 to 20 stories each day that we feel that you should know about. And by us doing it, it saves you a ton of time. It's a great time to sit down during lunch or during a break, go through the headlines, click on the stories that are of interest to you. We can guarantee that you're going to find something in there that will appeal to you. It's free. All you got to do is go to rotor.org/subscribe, and you can subscribe to that. We'll start sending it to your email box fairly quickly. Rotor Magazine is an award-winning quarterly publication that we also produce. The articles are much more in-depth. They're original content, and it's just a great publication. It's also free if you live here in the US. And if you are international, there's just a very low cost. And all you have to do, again, go to rotor.org/subscribe, and you subscribe to the magazine as well, one or both. Look forward to seeing those in my mailbox every time. Do appreciate your feedback. We'd love to know more about what you liked or didn't like about our webinars. We're trying to get questionnaire out soon. Jim mentioned this during his part of the recording. He wants to hear what you think about HAI and what we're doing for the industry. Please use the president@rotor.org email address there. Send him your challenges. Send him the things that are bothering you, things that are keeping you up at night in the industry, things that you think HAI might be able to help you with. We have a strong regulatory team. We have a strong legislative team to both help with advocacy on your behalf. Let us know what we can do to help you out. And that does wrap us up for this week. We do appreciate that you took time out of your schedule to join us. We'll be joining you again here in a couple of weeks and look forward to seeing you. Until then, please fly safe and be safe.